Good evening, dear friends, and welcome back to Sleepytime Corner for another fun adventure by the fire. Have you ever looked up in the night sky and wondered what it would be like to visit the stars? Imagine floating weightlessly, seeing the earth from above and drifting past twinkling lights in the great quiet sky. Well, tonight I will share a most wonderful tale of a little puppy who did just that. So, get comfy in your favorite cozy spot, and let's begin.
Space Puppy 2025, a bedtime story. Written and illustrated by Gina Everly. Narrated by Arthur Fezziwig.
Once upon a time, in a busy little corner of the world, there was a very curious Labrador puppy named Apollo. He wasn't just any pup. He lived at a space station, where rockets roared and radios chatted and people dreamed of the stars. Every day, Apollo bounded across the campus, his floppy ears bouncing as he sniffed shiny tools and wagged his tails at the engineers. They called him their mascot, their little spark of joy amid countdowns and calculations. Apollo loved exploring. He would curl up on desks, chase rolling boats across the floor, and nap in the warm sunshine near the giant rockets that reached high into the sky. The people at the space agency adored him. They scratched his ears and laughed when he playfully tugged on their shoelaces. But one morning, something was different. The air was filled with excitement. It was launch day. A rocket stood tall, gleaming under the bright blue sky, ready to carry supplies to the International Space Station. Apollo, curious as ever, trotted too close to a large metal cargo crate filled with soft blankets and pillows for the astronauts. And what's this? Someone had dropped a biscuit inside, or so Apollo thought it was. Apollo leapt in to get the treat, and click! The crate door shut tight behind him. No one saw, no one heard his tiny yawns as he nestled into the cozy warm blankets. The countdown began.
Systems check complete. All stations report go for launch. T-minus 10 seconds. T-minus 9. Orbital guidance is internal. We have ignition. 8, 7, 6. Main engines igniting. 3, 2, 1. Launch. We have liftoff.
And up he went, a secret passenger soaring into space. High above the Earth, the rocket docked at the International Space Station, a silver home among the stars. The astronauts, serious folks in crisp suits, unloaded the supplies. But then, a sound. Woof! They froze. Was that a bark? In space? Out floated Apollo, paws paddling, tail spinning like a tiny propeller. The astronauts gasped and chuckled. They weren't expecting a puppy, but who could resist such a friendly, wiggly surprise? The crew called him their littlest astronaut. They built him a tiny oxygen mask so he could breathe easy, and they played floating fetch with tools that drifted through the air. They even gave him little drops of water to chase and lick all around the space station. like magical bubbles that never fell. Apollo loved his new home, but most of all, he loved looking out the window. His big brown eyes gazed down at the earth far below, glowing like a blue marble far, far away. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Back on Earth, the news of Apollo's space adventures spread quickly. Children watched videos of the floating puppy, giggling as he tumbled through the air. Mission Control smiled too, but they knew something very important. Apollo belonged on Earth, with grass under his paws and the smell of home in the air. But before he could return, Apollo had one very important job to do. One day, a panel on the space station came loose. No one noticed, except Apollo. He barked and barked, pawing at the sparkling electrical wall until the astronauts checked. Sure enough, he had discovered something that needed fixing. "Good boy, Apollo," the crew cheered as they suited up to make the repair. Thanks to Apollo, everything was safe again. But all adventures must come to an end. The astronauts built a special harness for him, gently placed him inside a supply pod, and waved as he floated back to Earth. His ears flopped one last time in zero gravity before the pod glowed bright, streaking down toward home. Apollo landed soft and safe, greeted by cheers and open arms. He was finally home. Now, Apollo lives happily at the space station once again, scampering across the floors, chasing rolling boats, and napping in the sunshine. But at night, when the sky is dark and full of stars, he sits quietly, looking up. His eyes glint with memories of floating, of adventure, of the great endless sky. And who knows, maybe he dreams of one more ride. And so, dear little dreamers, that is the tale of Apollo, the brave little space puppy. His journey reminds us that curiosity can lead to great adventures, that even the smallest among us can make a big difference, and that home is always waiting for us when our adventures are done. Now, close your eyes, snuggle in, and dream of stars, floating bubbles, and faraway places. Who knows where your dreams will take you tonight? Remember, believe in yourself, trust those who love you, and dream big. One day you may soar as high as the stars. Sleep well, my friend. Until we meet again, good night.